So there are two narrative threads intertwined in this novel. One is the story of a marriage, and the other is the story of three generations of Jewish women. So there's the grandmother and the mother and Jeanne, the narrator. And Jeanne's mother is dying, so that each of the three generations goes together to Nice, and it's kind of their last journey together. And they're also kind of travelling through time. So I'm going to read you a bit from the beginning, and it starts where Jeanne is recounting how her grandmother fled persecution in her village, and she took with her 3 objects. She saved 3 objects: a 7-armed silver candelabrum, a marble clock, and a bread knife. Without her, this journey would be meaningless. I needed to bridge this destroyed yet undying world and the uncertain future in which it won't be houses that are consumed, but organs instead. She will ease the passage. In keeping these 3 objects she has carried all her life, my grandmother has clung to time, a weapon, and the light. I wanted her to come along and had no trouble convincing her. Ever since she has been elsewhere, I talk to her every day. Sometimes she replies only with a signal, but she always lets me know she has heard. Other times she stays silent, or rather, silence saves her from my interruptions. Now she can choose to speak or not. A perk not of age, but of another world. This is pointless, my mother would have said, had I sprung her mother-in-law on her as a last-minute surprise. Part angel, part escapee. She's going to be a nuisance, she'd have said. But a smile is never a nuisance. It is vital, necessary. While my mother is going to die, here, tomorrow, the day after, while she won't remember this summer to come, my grandmother has crossed lands and the century. No doubt she doesn't remember who she is or where she is, yet from the world that's now hers, she loves us. Maybe she thinks my mother is her daughter and it's her responsibility to marry her off. And like any good matchmaker, she will spread the word far and wide. My mother is laughing as she talks. She is 20. Her whole life is ahead of her. She is so pretty. I wish the hotel was further away, very far, that the long line of palm trees would never end. I drive slowly to prolong the pleasure of this reunion between her and her childhood, between her and the shred of hope I cling to by creating memories to come. Eventually the hotel rises up before us, tall and famous with its pink towers, its name proudly emblazoned across the front. I help her out of the car. I know she is suffering, yet in this moment she isn't in pain. The sight of her childhood, her youth, has done her more good than a morphine injection. At reception, they hand her the key to her room. She is like a young girl pretending, playing the pilgrim, come not to end her life, but to start all over again. She throws a pebble she imagines she found on a hopscotch stretching from birth to happiness. She forgets, I see it, the time span of 3 days. She forgets her days are unnumbered. She forgets the shadow and its whispers. Elegant, clutching her bag, my grandmother trails behind, smiling. She is wearing her pearl necklace and engagement ring, a small diamond set in onyx. Over her dress, a shawl whose patterned flowers must once have been buds. Look at them, now open. Their time has passed, yet they haven't wilted. We take the lift. Our suitcases will follow. My mother explores her room, her eyes wide in the bathroom with its gigantic golden bathtub. Our rooms are adjoining. We step into mine. There is an enormous bed with a faux fur bedspread and a classic bathtub, regular sized in ivory. My mother cries out, I want you to have the bigger tub. And in that moment I can understand she has given me what she can, all she can, because she no longer has the strength to walk around Nice with me, no energy to take me out to dinner in the city outskirts she loves so much. So she gives me her bathtub. Later she'll watch me soak in its vast tacky hollow. I'll be like a fox thrown in an Olympic swimming pool. I'll say that to her and she will laugh. I help my grandmother unpack in her room on the same floor. Opening her bag, she smiles. I look for her son in her eyes, and sometimes I find him. The days to come are going to be bleak. I say nothing. I know she knows. She sits down like a patient in a waiting room, alert and upright. She pays no attention to the sea or the palms. She is in Ukraine, Paris, Argentina. She is wherever her non-stop life has come to a standstill, wherever her non-stop life has restarted. I kiss her on the forehead and leave her to the wall of gherkin jars she has built around herself, a strange self-defence alongside the candelabrum, the standstill clock, and the bread knife. The suitcases arrive. My mother doesn't want help unpacking, so I leave her to her own devices. I open the sketchbook I take everywhere with me and start drawing. My pencil is moving in search of her. She smiles as if being photographed. Her face appears and I add in the hair she no longer has. She places her clothes carefully on the shelves, hangs up her blouses and trousers. She has even brought 2 or 3 dresses. Her scarves have their own drawer. She could be staying in Nice for a month, 2 for life, the life that's left to live.